Hello and welcome to an all-new Sam Explains the World. I am your host, Samantha Bremekamp, and today we're going to be using epoxy resin like last time, in which I taught you how to make these beautiful pearlescent coasters, half and half. But this time we're going to get into making the Petri dish effect, which is super cool. And in order to do that, I'm going to be using a 1-to-1 resin, craft bonders, and I'm going to be using alcohol inks of different colors and varieties, including the white sinker, which is helpful when you want to get an effect like this with the chunky glitter that went to the bottom without taking away from the Petri effect. It's a lot of trial and error. When first trying, first of all, this is way too thick. Let's just see the difference in thickness, because I didn't know and I didn't understand. But following a lot of forums online and trial and error, and I figured it out. But these are nice and heavy and can be used as a fabric weight. So too much, but the Petri effect worked except for the blobs of white, using too much white. And then in this one, also super thick, and you could see the Petri floating, and if I had used even just half of this, it would have come out really cool. But that is the difference when going too heavy with product and too shallow with product, and those are the differences. But now that I understand what I'm doing, I'm going to share with you guys. First things first. Remember, since you're not recording a show, your hair is going to be up. It gets sticky everywhere. I don't care how good you are, it'll get sticky. So first things first, gloves. I have the smallest gloves they make because everything is so specific. I don't want loose gloves because that'll make it really messy really fast. I have the 1-to-1 A and B little cups that are measuring with their own little mixers. Whoops. And one of the things I like to use to make things unsticky is just rubbing alcohol, and they make it in a very convenient spritz bottle. Obviously, you want to be careful not to get yourself in the face or the eyes or your pet's eyes or your significant other who's walking through the room. Let's not harm anybody. I'm particularly excited to be sharing with you guys that I figured out there are a lot of things that come into play that'll either make or break your resin. And it can be heartbreaking if you didn't understand it before. So let me try to help you alleviate any of that unnecessary pain. Resin is very temperamental to temperature. It doesn't like being cold. If it is cold, it could take forever to cure or just not cure. And in order to do things like a Petri dish effect, it needs to be at least 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So something that I'm using, for those who remember, I'm a huge gardener. These came with a couple gardening kits. They're the little heating pads that go under plants or under seed starting kits. And the reason they work so well for this is they don't get too hot. You don't want the resin to get too hot, of course. It's like basically the Goldilocks of crafts. It needs to be just right. So we have these warming up. It's easier to have these warmed up before you start mixing it. It makes a significant difference. Trust me, just do it. And of course, as always, I love to upcycle and recycle. So I'm using a yogurt container that I'm going to pour those into once I measure. And I have chopsticks that have now been resined over to make a nice sturdy paddle. That was by accident. And I have a really good stirring stick that came with this kit. I also have a thermometer that is via laser, which is great. So that's 77.9. That means it's almost there. Yay. I'm going to get these to maybe 80 just for this, because as I'm talking, it's going to cool down as I'm doing things and showing you guys. And I have a leveler, which is important because in the mold we're going to use for these, which are shallow, which is key. You are able to use a deeper mold. Just do not over pour and fill it up, because then you're going to get one of the paperweights I made, unless you're going for that. you're not going to like it. But this will be great because obviously you don't want your coasters on a slant. Otherwise, if you're making coasters for people or even just for yourself, you don't want ones that are uneven and have like the liquid fall off of it. The beloved heat gun that I'm borrowing from Kevin. This is useful for popping bubbles because when you're mixing the resin together, regardless of how slowly you do it or whatever, it's just going to bubble up because stirring introduces air. And those are the primary things. I also have, not only do I have the Sinker White that came with the Let's Resin alcohol inks, I also separately got this white alcohol ink specific to epoxy and Let's Resin Ocean White, depending on what kind of effect I'm doing. But we have all the options and we're ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is just fill up about 2 ounces per, because I'm going to do like 2 coasters with you guys. I have been making coasters and selling them, which is really fun. And now that I have a better handle on it, I'm able to share my wisdom with you. Okay, so we're going to do 2 ounces for both. So I have that labeled. I like these because the label, like of the numbers, is a different color than the cup. A couple of the nice ones that are more silicone based, the lines and the numbers and everything are all the same color as the cup. As soon as you put a liquid in it, you can't see anything. So design flaw, which is fine. And if you hear soccer in the background, that's just Cordelia. Okay. All right. So now that that's in a cup, it'll have the ability to get warmer faster because it's not in this big container trying to heat it all up. And I always have paper towels on hand for when I inevitably spill resin on myself. Word to the wise, it's awesome to use the alcohol spritzer. Do not spritz it over your project unless you're ready to try to pop bubbles. Because if you spray it and get like an unfinished product or a finished product, you could all of a sudden make it tacky and stuff, which is not what you're going for, or you shouldn't be going for. So I ended up getting this kind because it was on sale. Somebody recommended it in one of the Facebook groups. Thank you to whoever that was. I don't remember, but you're amazing. And so for the A side, we're also going to go to, I accidentally poured heavy, 3 ounces. So that's what we're going to do here, just so they match. If I have to do a third coaster, there are way worse things. Okay, both. Just like the smallest amount more. You need to be really close with your 1-to-1. Perfect. They are now identical. I always put the plug back in because you don't want this evaporating while you're not using it. That'd be a bummer. And always wipe it down, especially with the paper towel that you just spritzed with alcohol, because you want to keep it from being sticky. Put these to the sides. Wait a second while they warm up. And I would like to point out that I have big cardboard boxes that I cut panels out of. There's some wall around it to keep things from spilling outside of this area. I also have parchment down, and then I have a silicone mat just for extra, because again, it gets everywhere and I'm not trying to destroy everything I have. So we have that done. I really like, I'm going to try to show you how to do this one because I love the colors, the purpley blue. Even the back is gorgeous. This is what it looks like. So when you're making it, this is what's facing you, which in my opinion is the back. Because with alcohol inks, you're dropping in all the color, all the white, to make them start to come through the clear. And it's just so, so pretty. But while we're waiting for those to warm up, I will show, I just did different purples and pinks in this one, and it just gorgeous and really fun. And the glitter I did last second because I had it left over from a different project and was like, why not? And I have some glitter if I want to do anything special. But while this is warming up on the heating pad, I'm going to put the coasters down, and I'm going to use a leveler to make sure that they're not on a slant, because that would be a bummer. Okay. This one's good. Come this way. Let's see if that makes a difference. Are you like partially on and off? Okay. That's a little bit better. That is not. Always check to see if things are stuck on the bottom. Even if it's clear, if it's dried resin, that will cause a bump and have it not be a flat surface, which could be a real big pain, which is probably what I just found, which is why it's not even, or why it wasn't even. Okay. Let's check what this temp is. Okay, 74.7, we're getting there. This one says 84. That's the part B side that gets warm. Okay. Oh, this is 79. The heating mat is 84. After. Okay, I have everything. Again, if you're doing this, put your hair up. It's not worth it to get that in your hair. Could you imagine? Okay, so we're going to pour these into here. Pretty exciting stuff. Made more exciting by Cordelia and her soccer ball. She just loves soccer. She has that herding dog mentality. Okay, so make sure you scrape out as much as you can, because with the one-to-one, it needs to be as identical as possible for it to be a good mix. What happens if you don't mix it evenly? You won't get a pure cure. You're going to get soft spots, and or it never ever curing all the way, which would stink because you're going to put all this time and effort into something. May as well do it the right way so it all works out exactly how you want it to. Now, because we are doing a Petri dish effect, once I mix this all up and pour it into the molds for the coasters, I'm going to be able to immediately start doing the Petri effect with the alcohol inks. If I was trying to do a bloom or something, then you would want to wait 5, 15, 25 minutes, depending on what kind of effect you're getting, because you're going to need it to be thicker so your stuff doesn't just sink and do a face plant to the bottom, which becomes the top of your project, because that is heartbreaking. And I only know this from experience. And now we mix for 3 minutes. Okay, jump ahead. I've now filled 4 of them because I made too much doing the 3 ounces instead of 2 ounces. No big deal. So now that they're all warm enough, I'm going to start doing a couple different variations. So I don't know, my purple's over here and in the middle. Your purple, orchid's purpley, raspberry and magenta are pinky. And of course, I'm a sucker for blues. So I have aqua, cerulean, and blue. And I'm going to switch them out so they're not just together. We are going to do aqua and magenta. I'm going to do cerulean and orchid, and I'm going to do blue with purple. Hello, thank you. I have a needle that I use from a sewing kit in case I'm opening a new color. It makes sense not to use scissors to cut off the tip because you want to be able to control it as best you can, and you don't want a ton coming out. I think I had done this one before. Obviously, please be careful if you're using a needle. Do it over here for when I spill. I think I got it without making a mess. Let's see. This is blue. Have everything ready before you start doing it. This is a new alcohol ink white. Every time you do a drop of color, you're going to do double the amount of alcohol white. So let's say you're doing a bigger project and you're going to drop in 3 drops of color, then you have to do 6 drops of white. Okay. And I'm pretty sure purple is already opened, and you can tell. It sure is. Obviously mix these up, things settle. You don't want it coming out in a way that isn't even. Okay. Ready, ready. So we'll do this one in this so you can watch and follow along. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. What's happening? And there we go. Okay. Yep, and you can tell it worked that time because there's a beautiful color. Obviously, don't wear things that you don't want to get dirty. And then do a pattern. Okay, we're gonna let that expand a little bit. It's so, I'll do this gorgeous one. Let's try in the middle. Oh, it's so nice and dark. You can see them interacting now, which is really cool. They start to play off of each other. And because the resin is already warm, it's expanding faster, which is good for what we're doing. And with the Petri effect, you're going to be dropping color with white and then drop more color with white. And you're going to be making layers to add depth. It's just so pretty. It's so pretty. And now exactly where I put the other ones, you're going to just start putting it over all the different colors. Oh, it's going to be so pretty. As a first layer, and then I'm going to repeat. The pattern doesn't need to be repeated. Okay, so we'll go back with the Yeah, that fixed it temporarily. Such is life. And sometimes you'll find things clog. Which is why it's good to have a needle on hand. Okay. Now we'll do more of those. Remember we did magenta, raspberry. Where's my raspberry? Here we go. And what would we do? Aqua in the end. These colors interact really nicely. They're so pretty. It is fun to see them go so well together. And last but not least, magenta. Okay. If it works out, it's going to look so cool. If it doesn't, it's going to be annoying. Why? What happened to you? I really do not understand why it keeps closing. And if your project squirts off and gets a little bit into the other, that's okay. All it'll do is add more of a cool effect. Okay. So that's it. And now all we do is wait overnight to see how they came out. That's it. Couldn't be easier. Once you understand the basics, you have your temperature correct, and you're covered, and your space is covered, and you have a place that people aren't going to go near, and the dog's not going to go near, because this has to stay level, and you should cover it. I'm going to cover it with a piece of plastic, like a tent, not touching it, but keeping anything from dust or anything just collecting into it. You'd be surprised what ends up in a project if you don't cover it. And it's like not a fun surprise. So meet me back here for the big reveal. Super excited. Until then. So this is how this one came out. Super cool. You see the Petri effect. I'm trying to show you guys. Oh yeah, super awesome. Some of the white came through a little bit, but it still makes it look really cool. Really pretty. Oh, come on, focus. There we go. You can see it. I'm just trying to show you the depth of it. Come on, adjust. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. So cool. It's really easy. It's all about layers, just adding tons and tons of drops of ink. Look how cool that is. Just the way that they're all going. It's like they're in movement, it seems like. Really awesome. So thank you for joining me for this all new Sam Explains the World Petri dish effect. Looking forward to seeing you next Friday at 9 p.m. right here on BCTV.